Alright, I just have a few things to say about the current state of, I guess, the amount of active listeners to narcissists to people who exhibit gaslighting behaviors. To actually be supportive of someone and be a good active listener, you have to be there fully. Just like the TED Talks that I've got on my webpage, you have to give them your undivided attention. Be fully present in the moment, not distracted by your phone, other thoughts, and the person you're listening to should know or be able to feel that you're focusing on them and feel valued during the conversation. And it's funny. I've been telling people something like this for quite a while, and also you have to look for body language, like eye contact, which shows interest and engagement. And a lot of times their body language will be open and inviting, like they're showing that they're paying attention. There's also nonverbal cues such as nodding, smiling, facial expressions appropriately, Then there's also verbal affirmations like verbal cues like or I see, or encouraging you to continue speaking. They might also ask open-ended questions to delve deeper into the topic, like asking how'd that make you feel, or why. Or they might even paraphrase, which is sometimes what I do. It's like summarizing what they said in different words, basically, which shows you understood what they said and shows that you're processing their words thoughtfully. It also requires patience, so no interruptions. That means you refrain from talking until they are done speaking completely. And moments of silence are not necessarily your time to jump in, because moments of silence play a part in good active listening. But here is the main thing: open-mindedness, which I have found little to none as far as people with open minds to being wrong or to being right. Everybody has their own opinions. I get that. Everybody does what they want to do. I get that. But I've met very few people who can listen without judging and keep an open mind to whether they may be right or they may be wrong, or even entertain the idea that they could be right or could be wrong. So for a more genuine exchange of ideas, you just have to put your judgments aside. And another thing I've found very little of is empathy, emotional understanding. This is done by acknowledging the person's feelings and reflecting them back accurately. This emotional resonance can make conversations feel more meaningful, like feeling understood or feeling heard. And authenticity. This is like genuine interest, and it's their desire to listen is authentic. If they are genuinely interested in what you, or in my case, I have to say, rather than just going through the motions of listening, they will listen with understanding, open-mindedness, validation. They'll even try to put themselves in your shoes and never compare what something you went through to what they went through, because they're not the same. It doesn't matter if it's almost exactly the same. It's not the same, because each person's perception of the events of whatever happened to them is different. So never compare, but you can bring up, your things that are similar to other people's situations, but just don't compare them to their situation, because no two situations are the same. So that's about all I guess the other thing I have to say is there's let's see, what's it called? Biter something, an effect where it's like when you buy a new car, suddenly you see that new car everywhere for the first time. It's like you didn't notice it until you got the new car of your own. So I know everybody experiences these things, and so you notice it everywhere. Well, until I noticed this gaslighting behavior, in my old neighbors, I didn't ever really notice it much before, even though I'd learned it 5 years ago, like what the actual behavior is. But now I've noticed, all the ways that my family gaslit me, which, isn't illegal, but still it's emotionally traumatic, just like the silent treatment is. And they've also used the police in so many ways to bully me or to intimidate me, which is absolutely wrong. And my ex did it twice. My parents, my mom did it once. And then my dad basically battered me twice. My sister's husband battered me twice. So I've had my fill. Every time I try to stand up for either myself or my daughter, that's all my family, their reactions usually are. And that is unacceptable to me. And I'm sure it's unacceptable to a lot of people who get just beat down by society, beat down by other narcissists or their boss or whatever, just are depressed, don't know what to do. But they can't take away my hope that eventually this whole gaslighting and narcissistic country will eventually change, and laws will be passed against a lot of this gaslighting behavior, because some of the gaslighting behaviors are very much illegal. It depends on how far they take it, how much mental impact it has on you, and if they break any laws while doing it. But if they did, for instance, and you were being gaslit to death for some odd reason, so you would be confused as to what is reality and what is their false narrative. But I am not confused at all as to what was real and what isn't real in my situation. Now, I may have thought certain things, but how hard would it be for someone to get help when they cut off communication, and isolate you, and then gaslight you with some sort of devices, all the while telling everybody else that you're hearing things, because I know I shared that much information with one of them, which I regret every single day of my life. Wish I'd never met them. But if they knew that, then at the very, very, very least, they were the absolute worst neighbors I've ever had in my life in 2023. That entire year was not great, but it started mainly in September or July. But previously, in April, other things that already happened that I'm just not the type to call the police. But during that year, I had to call the police 4 different times. 4 times. And yet, my family, who's dismissive, and who I understand why they are dismissive, because of my grandpa's abusive behavior, but that's no excuse. When I bring that pattern of behavior to someone's attention, I know exactly why they are the way they are, and that's no excuse for their actions and being non-supportive, because that is the main reason me and another family member cannot truly get better. No matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, we will never get to the point of where we want to be, because we do not have supportive people around us. And there's not much I can do about that. But, I've been the one person my family member can talk to. I've been supportive, and she has, brought to my attention some of the major patterns of behavior that I had never noticed before. So, if my mom and dad ever do listen to this, the patterns of behavior are the fact that my father does not stand up for anyone except for himself. I would challenge him to name anyone he's ever stood up for. And my mother, I know she was abused just like Granny, or, it's just supportive. The support network. This support network that I have to live with because they're my family, and I'm not wanting to take them to court, but it needs to change, and it needs to change soon, because they've been doing this to what would be my mom's sister, my grandmother's daughter. They've been doing it to her for 25 years, blaming her, shaming her, just blaming everything on her problem, on her habit that even my mom has. Just the same as her. So why are these judgmental people blaming anyone? Why are they not just being the supportive people that they should be, and Christianly people? I don't know. I can't get a single solitary answer out of anybody as to why. No matter how many times I ask, no matter how many times I simply just want answers. So, just like my mom said, I'm going to get answers myself, and I will prove it to her exactly, or show her exactly how you should lead by example, and how you should show empathy and listen and understand, unlike I was treated. Because I was very proud that at least my child knows that the silent treatment is a form of emotional trauma. It's taken me a year to figure out all this stuff that I never even wanted to research in the beginning, but I had to. That's one of the ways to combat it, is to educate yourself on gaslighting, educate yourself on all these psychology topics in order to better understand, what you need to get better. And I know it's really strange that I can talk with one person for just an hour or two, a complete stranger, and she can tell me exactly what my problems are. And she's nearly my grandmother's age. And that is amazing, and I respect that so much, because it only took her, in the matter of an hour or two, to know what my problems were. I did not even have to tell her. And she thought I would take them the wrong way, but I didn't. I was just amazed that she did know exactly what my problems were. And that's why I don't know how people that have known me my entire life can't understand these things. Yet a stranger, in the matter of a couple hours, just chit-chatting with them, just somehow knows. It's very, it's I guess a miracle, I guess you'd say, but I mean, it still hasn't helped me yet per se, but it is, it was true. So, close, and I was worried that, from the last time we talked, she didn't have enough close personal friendships, but now, from what she says, I'm pretty sure she does. And she seemed perfectly fine, and that's what'll keep people from getting dementia, is to keep as many close personal friendships, alive. That is being social. That's what's kept my grandmother from having, dementia, basically, because isolating people, sticking them in a nursing home, that is what causes the onset of dementia. That is the main cause. Being by yourself, in your thoughts, in your head, and nobody to talk to. So, if that's what you wish for your parents or grandparents or whoever, then by all means, isolate them and just watch them deteriorate. But if you care about them in the slightest, or care about your loved ones in the slightest, you'll do the opposite.